Hi everyone. So before we get into this, sorry, I was just checking what side the mic was on because that's the side my hair should go on then. Before we get into the reading, I just want to say that I'm in the process of making some of these decks that you have seen me do some readings with. My prototype decks to be real decks. So stay tuned for information about that. That is coming. I have 3 that are currently in the works at the moment that I am working on ensuring are going to be decks, oracle decks for you guys to be able to purchase. And they're going to basically be the same deck that you see here, but this one's obviously the prototype that I was working with. So before I begin, let me just take a swig of tea and say a quick prayer, and then we're going to get into this. Okay. Okie dokie. Let me just, sorry, before we get into this. Disorganized. Maybe that's part of the message here. Not fully organized might be part of the message that's here. I'm trying to figure out if this deck is actually the deck I want to use. Sorry. Not sorry. I've been really drawn to Rebecca Campbell lately, so I'm going to mention that. Light is the New Black. I'm currently in the process of rereading that as well. So I thought I would mention that. That might be important for someone. And on that note, I'm going to put my deck aside and we're going to bring in this deck here. Yeah. They're not really showing me anything yet. The machine. Okay. Right out of the gate. The machine. This collective, you guys are really intuitive, but you've been too caught up in the material thing. That's the immediate thing when I see the machine. Be wary of AI. Be wary of things that are AI generated. Be wary of what it is you're consuming online. Be wary of the things that are directly linked to technology and the machine, right? There's a lot of evil that's coming through these days through technology. Okay, a lot of evil, and I literally evil spirits are coming through. We can have projections of other people's fears coming through, but there's a lot of evil online, a lot of sheer, and I mean pure evil. I'm not saying this metaphorically. I'm talking about true, pure evil. Okay, so that might be something else. Also, my bracelets are standing out to me. So crystals might be important for someone in this collective. Crystal jewelry or being mindful of the crystals. Excuse me, I gotta back up because I'm moving this whole table. Being mindful of crystals that you are drawn to or using. And we've also got fated life. Yeah, you guys are really feeling in this collective like you're out of control. There's a feeling with this collective that you've lost your faith in God or spirit, or you're really struggling with your faith in God and spirit. And there's a feeling of things are happening to you, not things are happening for you. And so there's a message here of this mindset shift. Okay, get back in nature is also coming through. Get back outside. Morning walks, natural light. They're showing me all of that. They're showing me actually specifically exactly what they're showing me is when I went camping in the summer by a lake. So that might be indicative for someone, which is the only reason I'm mentioning it. But there's a reset this collective needs to have. Okay, because the opposing of these sides is the mystic and destined life. And I really want to stress that there's nothing stopping you from living a spiritually destined life except this out of control feeling that is kind of taking over. with this collective, okay? So needing to be really mindful of that, right? Shift your mindset, shift your life. Okay, that's actually a card that I have in one of my decks. Shift your mindset, shift your life, shift your energy, shift your life, okay? It's really, really important here with this collective. This collective, you guys have, there's nothing, I don't know why I keep wanting to say this. There's nothing stopping you. Yeah, aligned. That's really interesting that this card is the one that aligned came out, because we just dealt with the machine and fated life. And according to that, you should be in a misaligned energy. So there is a shift that this collective has that is going to occur where you're shifting from this, what I call hamster wheel, this hamster wheel type energy, and you're shifting over to this aligned state. You're shifting over to this state of getting back into the energy, back into this mystic energy, back into your creativity, back into seeing the beauty of life. There is that shift that is occurring. I'm hearing at the end of Mercury retrograde. So at the time that I'm filming this, there's a Mercury retrograde that's going on. I honestly don't even know when this Mercury retrograde ends, but it's showing me basically by the time this reading is going to be out. So approximately the beginning of April sometime. There's something about, so I'm hearing April Fools. There's something about April Fools, April 1st, that is going to be like, I don't want to say it's a setback because that's not necessarily true, but it's interesting that that's what came through. There's something though that is going to occur around April Fools on April 1st. That's going to initially seem like what's even happening here, but that's going to be a bow and arrow situation. And what I mean by that is it's a situation where it's going to seem like you're being pulled back, but really you're being pulled back so you can be projected forward into this aligned state. Okay. You also have unhookable coming through. And what I really like about this card is when I look at it, there's a few things that really stick out to me in this card. And the first one is all the colors, right? Which I don't know how well you can see the colors, but all the colors, right? You've got the blue, the yellow, the pink, right? And it's really about like the colorful personality, right? Bringing through that personality more, bringing through that authenticity more, and not being ashamed about it. That's not actually what I wanted to say. But it's interesting that that is what I said. I didn't want to say not being ashamed. I wanted to say not being, what did I want to say now? See, now I've even forgotten what I wanted to say, but I wasn't ashamed. But it's interesting that that's the only word I can think of at the moment. So I'm going to go with it, not being ashamed for, about your personality. Okay? You don't need to hide it anymore. Okay, stay authentic to you. The other thing about this unhookable card is that she's not upright, right? When she's there, she's kind of leaning back, but she's still got her balance and she's still there. And she still kind of looks almost like with this hand here, it almost looks like she's trying to control these like clouds. At first I thought it was water actually, so that might be indicative to someone, but it's like she's almost like trying to control these clouds. Like your energy is not something to be contained in a box, and obviously the machine is going to try to contain you in a box. You are going to be shifting with the spring equinox into the start of April into this understanding that you're not meant to be contained. You're not meant to be contained in this box that everyone has been trying to put you in. I'm also hearing gaslit. So a lot of you might have been really gaslit over the years, gaslit about your intuition, gaslit about what it is that you guys can do, your dreams, healing for some of you, healing ability. I'm hearing they think you're crazy, but you're not crazy. You're not crazy. Life's about to get golden. Some of you are going to be opening up your higher heart chakra and your higher crown chakra. If you don't know what those are, then that message doesn't apply to you. Okay? If you don't know what those are, those are traps. Yeah. There's really this feeling with this collective that I'm getting of, up until this point, you kind of had this expectation when the new year came in January that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And you had this plan set out. And now with 3 months in to the new year, okay, the Gregorian New Year, according to the Gregorian calendar here in the West, and you're realizing that where you wanted to be in that 3 months isn't where you're actually are. And so you've been feeling stuck in this energy, this trapped, this machine, this fated life, like things aren't going the way I want it to. I keep trying to incorporate all of these manifestations and all of these different things in my life, and it's not working. It's not working. Some of you might also have anxiety, okay? I'm getting like the feeling of drowning, okay? You're putting too much pressure on yourself, okay? When you put so much pressure on yourself, you're blocking the flow of energy. So you need to understand that no, things are not going to happen at the rate you want them to happen at. It doesn't mean they're never going to happen though. It just means you need to have the patience and understanding of what is a reasonable expectation to have, I'm going to say. What is a reasonable expectation to have? Not to say that your expectations are unreasonable, not to say that your dreams are unreasonable, not to say that it's unreasonable what it is you want to accomplish, but you're putting so much pressure on yourself, this collective. So much pressure. Like you're really like putting a ridiculous amount of pressure on yourself that it's not successful. We're 3 months into the year. I've just wasted 90 days and oh my God, I can't believe that. Whoa. Slow down, because remember that if you want to manifest something that's energetic, you've got to use the energetic new year, which means we haven't reached the new year yet at the time that I'm filming this. Okay, at the time that this will be posted, we'll have just past the new year, right? So there's this conflict happening again with the machine, okay, of we have this Gregorian calendar system, which places the new year in the middle of winter during a time where we're supposed to be building and planting and resting and letting things kind of go, right? But mentally, because we're in Earth, having a human experience on this planet, we are realizing also that, or this collective needs to realize, this collective needs to realize that there is this imbalance between the natural energetic state of the planet Earth that God has created, that God made, and how the Gregorian calendar system has tried to hijack that. And therefore, we have placed the expectation in this Gregorian calendar system framework, when really what we should be doing is using the calendar of the universe and how the natural cycles of the universe work as our determination. So up to this point, it shouldn't have been really that productive. And it makes sense if your accomplishments haven't been that productive, because it's not been in this new transitionary energy 100%, right? And especially if you're in the West and the Northern Hemisphere, especially then, you're going to find that we've transitioned in the lunar New Year cycle between the year of the Snake to the year of the Fire Horse. And there's all this angst. Oh, the year of the Fire Horse, it's going to be blast and it's going to be go, 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 go. And to an extent, it has been. To an extent, there has been this feeling of go, 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 and let's produce and let's create and let's do all this stuff. But at the same time, there hasn't been anything yet for this collective that has been seen from that. And so this collective has been really getting discouraged. And there's a message here of understanding that you shouldn't be discouraged yet, because you haven't reached the universal new year. You haven't reached the energetic new year in the Northern Hemisphere, in the West, shifting into the spring. shifting into a time of growth, shifting into a time of bounty. We're still technically in that rest state, right? So this feeling of anxiety and this feeling of being trapped and this feeling of like, I can't get out, and what do I do, and where do I go, right? It's going to come to pass if you allow it to after the spring solstice, after Ostara, if you follow the pagan wheel of the year for this collective, right? Some of you need to bring in this golden healing energy too. There's actually a meditation about golden healing energy. I'm also hearing Archangel Raphael. I'm also hearing Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. And again, I don't know much about the archangels. Posted another reading where archangels were coming through, and I don't know a lot. I just know that when I hear them, they show up. If that makes sense, I'll hear their name. Okay, the tall poppy. Interesting. Remembrance. Oh, what is it that you guys haven't let go of? There's a difference between remembering and not moving on, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Okay. How am I going to describe this now? Shit. They're showing me something I don't really know how to describe. This collective, you have spent a lot of time, too much time in the past, and not enough time just looking back. What's the difference now? When you're spending time in the past, you're spending time really dwelling and bringing that past energy into focus, into the present. When you're just reflecting on the past, you're not bringing that energy into the present. You're not catapulting that energy forward. And so here with the poppy, I'm getting the sense of remembrance. Remembering who you are, remembering where you came from, remembering your dreams, your goals, what it was you wanted as a child. I'm hearing your bounty, which is really interesting. But anyways, we're going to go with it. Your bounty, remembering all that stuff, but not catapulting that energy forward, because that's not what's meant to be. That energy is done. It's in the past for a reason. You're done with that energy. Okay, wipe your hands of it, clear it out. Enough's enough. Clearing might also be really important for this collective as well. We also have the masks we wear. Okay, and bottom of the deck. Hold on. Yeah. This collective, you really need to let go of the masks. You need to let go of, you need to get real with yourself. So this has been a message that's come up quite a bit. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll also have seen this message come up quite a bit on Instagram, is needing to get real with yourself. And I just want to talk about this for a second. I have a lot to say on this topic, but I'm just going to talk about this really, really briefly for a minute here. There's a lot of people within the spiritual new age-ish community that focus a lot on this kind of lovey-dovey type of spirituality. And what I mean by that is they like to focus on everything happens for a reason and everything's so amazing and everything is, you know, like fluffy bunny and great and, you know, roses and unicorn farts, you know. And what it's not, sorry, excuse me, I just have to take this phone call. I was talking about the New Age and spiritual community and how there's been this shift over the years away from this more authentic type of spirituality into this really almost delusional type of spirituality where we're almost disconnected from the earth, right? and nothing is real, and therefore nothing is real, and it's all fake, and therefore nothing matters, and we should essentially all be monks. And I'm obviously summarizing everything very, very greatly, but it's honestly absolute horseshit on so many levels. And there's a lot of really toxic people within this community who spread toxic positivity, right? They spread these ideologies that seem theoretically really, really great, but are really actually toxic. One of the ones that I see a lot of is everyone's a mirror of you. And I disagree. I don't, one of these days I'll do a separate video about that. I don't want to take up this entire reading ranting about the issue with these toxic positivity phrases like everyone is a mirror of you, which is absolute horse, absolute bull. But anyways, because that's not true. Not everyone is a mirror of you, because everyone has decisions. Okay. But the flip side is, just because there's people who don't like you and there's people who don't understand you, it doesn't mean that you should continuously be people pleasing. It doesn't mean that you should continuously be keeping the mask on because it's comfortable. Okay, there's a message here of needing to get out of that comfort zone. Get out of that, move on out of that. There's a message here, right? We could look at this and say it's not trapped at all. We could look at this and say it's just discomfort, right? It might not be comfortable for someone. In fact, I can tell you, as someone who used to do free diving, that it's not comfortable always, because of the nature of free diving. When you're free diving, your body builds up CO2 and you get the feeling of you need to breathe, when in reality, you don't need to breathe yet. You still have enough oxygen to continue the dive and to continue your descent or ascent up. And a lot of free diving is about learning how to be comfortable with that discomfort of the immediate impulse that we would initially have of, oh, I need to take a breath, right? You can't obviously take a breath when you're 30 or 50 meters down in the water. So you need to train yourself to be okay in that discomfort. And there's kind of that message coming through here of needing to be okay in that discomfort, right? And then we've got hold on. And hold on is all about, it's not over till it's over. It's not over till it's over. Okay? Just wait. Just wait. It's coming. Continue the work. Continue what it is you're doing. Continue the process. Continue doing those things. Continue doing them. But it's not over yet. Okay? You're not done yet. I'm also getting, there's kind of like multiple messages coming through here. I'm also getting of, don't give up before it's had the chance to blossom. I'm seeing May, and I'm hearing May and June, actually. May and June, yeah. There's a time for action that's going to come, right? Eight of Pentacles, watering your flowers, watering things that are coming to pass, right? Putting the time and the effort and the work in, right? We also have the Ace of Cups here. Okay, where's your energy? There's a huge message here of being mindful of where your energy is and putting the work in. Okay, this is the other part of the whole new age thing. Drives me absolutely bananas, is the whole aspect of all you need to do is visualize being in this new life and you can manifest it. What a lot of people forget about manifestation is that you need to do the work to manifest. So I would strongly ask you right now, are you doing the work? Have you done the work? Have you done all of the work? Have you dotted your I's and crossed your T's to bring this dream that you have, this vision that you have, to life? Have you done it? Okay, the world reversed. It's time to work, right? it's really time to flip things around. Right? There's two messages coming through here, one from the imagery and one from the card itself. The imagery is the one I want to focus on though, because in this version of the card, there's a woman who's just kind of like resting and in bliss, right? In this long grass with the flowers around her. When it's reversed, it's okay, the time for rest is over and it's time to get to work. Okay? Enough of the excuses. Sorry. Some of you are going to be real triggered. You're going to be like, well, I have been. Have you, or have you just been creating excuses so that you don't have to do these uncomfortable things? What have you been avoiding doing? What is that thing that you know needs to be done that you've been avoiding doing? That you've been saying, no, I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to do it. What is that thing that when you think of doing it is giving you that anxiety? Because that's the thing that needs to be done in order for this to continue forward. I'm going to give you guys a really quick example. For the longest time, I was really angry, partially at myself, but and definitely at myself later on, because I had all these great ideas. I had a website and I had offerings and I had e-products at the time that I'm going to probably fix and repost at a later date. And I had all this stuff and I wasn't getting any clients. I wasn't getting anything. And I went and did a reading with someone, a tarot reading. And I sat down with her and she had barely, I think she had pulled maybe one card. She had barely looked at it. And she looked at me and she said, stop fucking around. Like straight like that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I've been putting so much work in. And she said, have you? And I said, yes, I have. I've been spending hours and hours and hours doing this. And she said, well, then how come I haven't seen you on social media? How come I haven't seen you on YouTube? How come I don't see you in here? Why don't you have a table at this booth here? And I went, well, because I don't have. And she said, no, now you're giving me an excuse. She says, what discomfort are you avoiding? And it was really a big slap in the face. In the moment, of course, you get very defensive. We're humans. Your ego comes, oh, of course, I've been working really hard. And I had been working really hard. And I do want to say that I'm not denying the fact that a lot of you in this collective have been working hard. I do think that if you're watching this and you're like, I have been working hard, I've been putting in 12, 14-hour days. I'm not denying that that is not the reality. I do think that that is the reality. However, what I am saying though is that work that you're doing actually productive? I was putting in a lot of work, but I wasn't showing my face. I was making a lot of posts on Instagram at the time, but I didn't want to show my face. I didn't want to come on YouTube and show my face because then that opened me up to criticism. Oh my gosh. And that opened me up to hatred. Oh my gosh. But here's the thing about God or about the universe, whatever terminology you wish to use. If you don't do that step, it's going to still come to you anyways. So even though I was avoiding putting myself out there on a public platform, I was avoiding making this channel, I was avoiding making my other channel, I was avoiding creating the courses that I'm hoping to launch in a couple months here. I was avoiding the Instagram presence and making the reels because of what if people saw. What ended up happening is all of those fears ended up manifesting themselves in my house, in my life, in other ways. It ended up manifesting with people that I know starting to judge me, people that I know who should have had my back, who I thought would have had my back, ended up talking smack about me. And then once you realize that, okay, wait, these people that I thought were in my circle aren't actually in my circle at all. And they're backstabbers and they're two-faced and they're liars and they think that I'm crazy and they're gaslighting me and they're telling me what my life is and what I've been through as if they've lived my life and they've never lived a day in my shoes. What the F? You realize, well, it's going to hurt a lot more coming from people that you thought you knew. And if I can handle people that I previously had trusted talking shit about me and saying that they think they know everything about my life when they don't know jack-ish about my life and about who I am and what I went through, then what does it matter if some stranger on the internet decides to comment in the comments of a YouTube video that they don't like my reading or that they think I'm a fraud. What does that matter then? And so you end up manifesting the very thing that you don't want when you're avoiding doing the work to create the thing that you do want. And then you're also avoiding the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is a beautiful card. The Nine of Cups is having everything you could want plus some. Because when you put in the work and you water it and you put in that energy and you put in the positivity and you talk to the flowers, the sunflowers, and you allow them to bloom and you fertilize them, they will give you and they will reap you rewards. And the Nine of Cups is being complete, utter contentment in all areas of your life. It's about having enough emotional contentment. It's about being satisfied with the state of your life. It's about being satisfied with your job and where you are. It's about having enough and being able to bring that, right? Bring that to fruition, being able to bring that out, to bring all those things out that you dreamed of. Your dreams are also part of cups, by the way. Your visions are also part of cups because that is largely emotional. Your visions and your dreams come from a creative emotional state. So anything that you do that's emotional is going to be having an impact on this this work that you're going to do and these dreams that you want to manifest, right? We have the Seven of Wands and we've got the Five of Swords. The very first thing that came out when I saw this Five of Swords is internal conflict. It's not always a popular interpretation of the Five of Swords, but it is something that for some reason when I looked at this card today, the very first thing, even before I deal with the Seven of Wands over here, is internal conflict. Okay? You guys are having internal conflict. Okay? Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? You know that song? Oh gosh, when is that song even from? That's an old song. Look it up. Look it up if you don't know it. Okay, we've got the Seven of Wands, which I'm going to actually ignore that this says Seven of Wands because again, I want to focus on the imagery in this. Okay, going on the adventure, doing the thing. Do the thing. Gain a new perspective in what it is you want to do. Right? Bridging new areas. You guys, this collective, look at you are your own worst enemy. This collective, you are your own worst enemy at the end of the day. There's nothing stopping you from doing the things and going where you want to go and manifesting the things you want to manifest except your own mind, except your own thought process about your capabilities. A similar message to this has come up a few times in my readings. Okay, of you need to trust yourself and just do it. Just do it. Okay, find a way and just go do it. Okay, this card is making me think of a story I really want to tell you. I'm in the process of trying to find a van to convert. For those of you who don't know, one of the things that I love doing, if you only know the spiritual side of me, you miss all this other cool shit that I like to do. But one of the things I really love to do is I love to go camping. I love hiking. I have a dog. I actually technically have two dogs. But I have one dog that's all mine and another dog that I share with the family. And I like to go fly fishing and I like to go camping. And one of the things I've really been called to over the past 2-3-ish years is van life and converting a van and traveling around the country in the van and working out of the van and being in nature pretty much full time so that I can do more stuff like this, so that I can create more content, so that I can write more, things like that. And so I've been looking for this van and I have no clue really what I'm looking for. I just have faith that when it shows up, I'm going to know. And then I have no clue even how I'm going to even start, like the thought of having to convert the van and to do the electrical and to do the insulation and to cut holes into the metal that are going to be very difficult to repair if I F it up. Honestly, if I think about it too much, it gives me a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I screw it up? Or what if I set it on fire because I do the electrical wrong? Oh, what if I put the wrong insulation in and it needs insulation? Because I live in Canada where we get winter and it's cold. So I need to think about insulation and, oh, what insulation should I do for this? And do I want to have a diesel generator? Do I want to have a solar system? Does it make sense to have a solar system when it's dark for 5 months of the year? I don't know. And all that stuff then really gets in your brain, right? But the first step, none of that matters until you take the first step and then you get the van. So why am I fretting about all this other stuff when I don't even have the van yet? For all I know, I could find my dream van in the perfect price range. I just need to do very little with it and do some cosmetic stuff, and it's already converted for within my price range, which I have found a couple of vans here that are like that. And the only reason I haven't gotten them is because the body was really badly rusted, and a rusted body is never a good thing, especially when you have winter. And it's wet. So things will turn out much differently than you think it is, but you still need to take that first step. You still need to put that energy out there of, okay, this is what I want. Okay, God, I really want to start some level of van life, even if it's not full-time van life, which for me it wouldn't be because I have a partner who's got a physical job in the physical at a location that he has to commute to every single day. So obviously, it would not be full-time for me, but it would be for me. Does that make sense? And that's the vibe I'm getting here with this collective, right? Is you need to take that first step, okay? The bridge wasn't already built. She had to go and build the bridge from the ones that she had. She had to go and build that bridge so that she could walk across it. That bridge wasn't there. She created it because she wanted to get to this location. So what is the steps you need to take? You can't flower something, you can't water, interesting, that's what I said, you can't flower something. You can't water something if you don't plant the seed. You're going to just be watering dirt and nothing's going to grow. If you don't plant the sunflower seeds, you're not good. It doesn't matter how much you water. It doesn't matter. It could be the perfect temperature. It could be the perfect everything. But if you never put the seed there in the first place, how is it going to grow? If you don't take that action, despite how uncomfortable it is right now, despite the doubts you might have right now, you're going to say, you know what, I have faith that I know enough in this moment to be able to do it anyways, and I'm just going to go do it. Perfect. Because now you've taken that first step. Now you've started to redirect that energy into this thing that you want to do, that you want to create. That's it. I just asked Spirit, oh, is there anything else I should do? And they said, no, you're done already. I really think this collective, honestly, you just need to get aligned. And alignment isn't just energetic, it's also physical. It's nice to be aligned with your emotions and it's nice to be aligned with your energy, but are you aligned physically? Are you doing the physical thing? And if the answer is no, then you're not actually fully aligned. We talk about alignment in terms of energy and energy direction and intention and our emotions, but we don't talk about the physical aspect of taking the action, taking the first step, because this is not out of your reach. This glow up, this change, this doing things differently, that's coming for a lot of you, if not all of you in this collective, if you allow it. There's nothing stopping this from happening for every single person here, plus some. There's nothing stopping that from happening. So, but it has to start somewhere. You don't just start out with the 9 of Cups. You have to start with a single cup. With that single idea, that single step, that single thought. And from there, it grows into this empire. For some of you, it will be an empire. Quite literally. And I'm gonna leave it there because honestly, it just stopped. So that's it. That's done. I'm gonna leave it at that. Until next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.